At this place in history, we're just about on the Grand Isle North Hero line with Steve Perkins, the executive director of the Vermont Historical Society. Steve, you've picked a just about ideal day to take us to the Lake Champlain Islands, but what brings us here?
So, Mike, we're going to be talking about movable bridges. It's not just what we think about as drawbridges, which really are something you'd find in a castle over a moat,
right.
But any sort of bridge that has an element that will move out of the way so that a boat can get through. Vermont, we're a landlocked state, so where do you find them historically? Generally around Lake Champlain. This is actually the last one.
Okay. Had no idea that this was the only one left. I was aware that there had once been more than one. So what others were there?
North of us, getting from the, Vermont to the peninsula, that's Alburgh, and then over to Rouse's Point, New York. Before that, people had used ferries to get around it. But the coming of the railroads is what really pushed this idea. So you know the causeway, the island line we all love. You can ride your bike on it now today, where you can go from Colchester Point to South Hero. That was a railroad line.
It makes sense. It's very long and very straight, very narrow.
It did. Made a lot of sense. Railroads went ahead and built them, and then the people who were boating said, hey, wait a minute. There's a commerce that travels on this lake too, and you've now blocked us off.
Right.
So the railroads would put a piece of bridge that rotated. When it swings open, you get a small navigable channel. And it wasn't until the 20th century that people say, hey, we want to get over these bridges with cars as well. The problem with the swing bridges is the where you could put your boat through, the passage was constricted because there was a pier right in the middle, like a pivot point for the bridge, and they were prone to breaking down. So over time, a few of those got replaced by bascule bridges, French term for what we think of as drawbridges. And that's where there's a counterweight on either one section or two sections to open them like this. So the bridge that was here, that was just recently replaced, was a 1950s edition bascule bridge. The new one basically replaces it in somewhat the same spot, roughly the same size, operates in the same manner. But other places in the islands, what's even cheaper than a bridge that moves? A bridge that doesn't move. So really over the last 20 years, we've seen all the remaining movable bridges replaced by large fixed spans.
In some of these instances, you can see the pilings where previous bridges would have been.
Absolutely, and if you want to learn more about these bridges or see their evidence, they're really evident, especially here in the islands. Like, we're standing on the old abutment, and there's a road you can walk down that was the old approach road. Same thing if you go to the Swanton-Alburgh Bridge or the Alburgh-Rouse's Point Bridge.
You also have, I understand, a written resource that people can use.
Crossings, it's a history of Vermont bridges by Bob McCullough. And it really is a very comprehensive book about bridges and the history of bridges and how people cross bodies of water.
We'll cross that bridge when we come to it at this place in history.